Well, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Josh Schimmels, publisher and CEO of the San Fernando Valley Business Journal, and it's an honor to be hosting our 2022 CFO Awards. In the last couple of years, as we know, CFOs have really had to reinvent themselves and how they support their organizations in order to ensure that their businesses are as financially healthy as possible. They've also had to do it in a number of new ways that have created challenges. So it's exciting to be able to share their impressive work with you today. Let me tell you just a little bit about how today's program is going to break down. We're going to kick things off by announcing the incredible group of finalists, and then we're going to give you a little bit of insight into how each one stands out as a financial leader. These are all of our finalists. From there, we'll then announce the 2022 honorees across 7 different award categories. We'll ask them to join us for a few remarks, and we'll also spend a minute or two getting to know them through a couple of questions about their roles as CFOs. Please join me just for a moment here, thanking our partners for all of their support that they provided over the course of this program that we do. Many of them have been with us for years, so we really appreciate the partnership. Want to thank and special thanks to our diamond sponsor, the David Nazarian College of Business and Economics at CSUN. Always appreciate your support. Our platinum sponsor, Montage Insurance Solutions. Again, appreciate all your support as well. And additionally, I want to thank our 2 gold sponsors, the National Notary Association and Valley Community Healthcare. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure working with you once again. All right, so we're going to go and get started. We're going to meet our finalists. With that, I'd like to welcome Platinum sponsor Danon Simpson, CEO of Montage Insurance Solutions, to announce our first group of finalists. Danon, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much, Josh. It's wonderful to be here and honoring the CFOs because they do so much for us. And you guys have had to work really hard to get us through the pandemic and all that's happened. And my financial person just helped me buy our first building with Montage. So we're a full service insurance brokerage firm, and we handle employee benefits, workers' comp, property casualty. And so we're very excited, a lot of good things happening. And it's because you all manage your money so well for your companies. So thank you. So we're going to get started. And so let's get to it. Our finalists are Steve Binder, Chief Financial Officer of Mankind Corporation. Within the last 5 years, Steve has guided the company's capital allocation, support a growing indoctrined franchise, and investing behind a product pipeline. So let me just keep getting down here. So thank you so much, and congratulations to you. Very good. The next person we have is Craig Borstelman, SVP, CFO, and Treasurer of Republic Indemnity Company of America. Craig has a successful track record of accomplishments and experience in the financial management of property casualty insurance companies. Good job, Craig. Congratulations. So our next finalist is Jason Brooks. Jason Brooks is the EVP of Global CFO, the MBS Group. Jason helped the MBS Group navigate through the crisis of 2020 and built the company's highest growth year in 2021. That is exactly what I was talking about. Good job, Jason. Congratulations. And our next finalist is Scott Burrows, Chief Financial Officer of Arcutis, and that is Biotherapeutics Incorporated. Scott is a strategic leader who has guided Arcutis leadership on the best way to operate in the current business environment, including the last several years during COVID-19. This includes giving guidance to executives on the smartest allocation of resources in a pre-commercial environment. Congratulations. And on to the next one is Robert Clark, Chief Financial Officer of National Notary Association. Since Robert joined the in NA. He has led the team through a growth of over 2.5 times in revenues and 5 times in earnings. Additionally, he has led the team to grow from 100 employees to over 300 employees. Great job. All right, and our next finalist here is Aaron Eichberg, CFO, HR Director. For the Eichberg Associates Incorporated. Erin has zero background in accounting when she started, and after 6 years has become a top-notch CFO for Eichberg Associates Incorporated. Congratulations. Wonderful job for all of you. And back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Anand. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with our next group of finalists. We've got Ron Farr, CFO, West Hills Hospital. He helped lead the hospital staff through the mayhem of the pandemic by managing expenses and productivity while overseeing the supply chain, which we all know has been quite a challenge over the last couple of years. He was also able to secure adequate PPE for the team so they could do their work. We have next Mara Garcia, CFO of Finexa. As a byproduct of Garcia's leadership, Finexa Holdings and its related entities have grown and built teams and headquarters over the last 5 years in Glendale, California, the UK, and Ukraine, and they collectively have a staff of 130 now, quite growth. All right, we've got Dwight Ham, Chief Financial Officer with Guardian Drainlock. During the pandemic, the company had an initial goal of giving to the community anywhere from 10 to 20% of pre-tax income. The company has contributed more than 3 times its initial investment capital over its 14-year history, keeping with its initial objective to give back by helping others. Next up, we have Pam Kessler, CFO and co-president of LTC Properties. Due to her leadership, LTC has continued to pay dividends throughout the pandemic, and they continue to make investments around the U.S. in their growth strategy. Next up, we've got Robert Licht, Chief Financial Officer with Hertz Investment Group. Robert stepped in as a leader for the finance group, focused on team building and creating an environment of trust by offering financial incentives to the team. Next, we've got Kaylin Liu, VP of Finance with Many Mansions. Kaylin is Many Mansions' longest serving employee that has helped grow the organization from just a small Thousand Oaks nonprofit with a handful of employees into a strong regional nonprofit with nearly 80 employees and nearly $10 million in annual revenue. Congratulations. To announce our next group and our final group of sponsors, please welcome Diamond sponsor, Dr. Chandra Subramaniam, Dean of the David Nazarian College of Business and Economics at CSUN. Dean, welcome. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, Josh. Before I start, let me welcome everyone here, by the way, especially and congratulate all the honorees of the San Fernando Valley CFO of the Year awardees. The role of CFOs, as Josh mentioned, during this time has been very difficult. So I do applaud all of you who've done a great job in leading your organization. Before I start, let me say a few words about Cal State. Someone must have your link. And Nazarian College of Business, and in particular, CSUN is actually one of the largest institutions in the Valley, but few actually know its impact because we have been known to be said to be our best kept secret in the Valley. So I want to sort of highlight what we do. CSUN has close to 40,000 students and more than 4,000 employees. What we have is a very diverse student and employee population, with more than 70% of the students being first generation and more than half of them being Pell Grant recipients. And I think that's part of what makes them really hardworking and resilient with little sense of entitlement. And therefore, in essence, by the way, we come up very strongly in the Social Mobility Index, being ranked as number 4 in the College Nets rankings. We're also proud of being the 9th largest ACSB recognized College of Business in the country, with more than 7,000 students in business, graduating about 2,000 a year. Our aim primarily is in order to be not only partner with our community that we live in, such that we are the largest university-based volunteer. We provide the volunteer income tax assistance to close to 8,000 low-income taxpayers every year, bringing back more than $12 million of tax refunds and credits to the community. Money Magazine actually ranks as number 31 in the country for value and quality. But more importantly, what I wanted to quickly mention is the fact that our students, by the way, graduate with more than just a degree in hand. A lot of the students actually get certifications from the IRS, Google, SAP, Bloomberg, and Certified Financial Planning Board, among others. These are just some of the highlights that I wanted to mention. To learn more, of course, please visit us at any time. Now back to the finalist. Our next finalist is Evan Mesa, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of the Salem Media Group. Evan has been actively involved with transitioning the company from a pure play radio operator to a multimedia corporation with approximately 30% of its revenue coming from digital sources. Congratulations, Evan. Next up is Mike Matzner, Chief Financial Officer of Ely Commercial Real Estate Group. Mike has a strong work ethic and is loyal, dependable, trustworthy, and highly regarded by his friends and colleagues. Congratulations, Mike. Next up, Kelly Russell, Director of Finance and Operations, Con Media, Inc. Since joining Con Media, Kelly has helped implement a new business blueprint with a plan to make all departments profitable, while helping with the purchase and roll-up of a second agency under the KM banner. Congratulations, Kelly. Next up, Frank Sansoni, Chief Financial Officer of Beyond Limits. Frank's extensive financial leadership experience with energy and enterprise-grade software companies makes him a uniquely well-positioned fit for Beyond Limits. He continues to help the company grow and achieve financial success as the world emerges from the pandemic. Congratulations, Frank. Next up, Manveer Saini, the Executive Vice President and Head of Finance and Operations of Heartbeat LLC. Manveer spearheaded everything to help to get the company to where it is today, including managing over 5 different diligencies. For example, financial, HR, technology. There's a lot of hats to wear. Congratulations, Manveer. Next up, Julie Winfield, Chief Financial Officer of RFO Management. In her role, Julie is able to utilize all of her experiences and is challenged every day. As the CFO, she manages private equity funds, investments, real estate, insurance trust, and so much more. Congratulations, Julie. Next up, Lucine Yegaziran, that one, and Chief Financial Officer of SADA. Through Lucine's role as CFO, she is a founding member of SADA's mentorship program, a cross-functional group of diverse women that meet monthly and share experiences to help navigate professional confidence and promote career development. Congratulations, Lucine. Again, congratulations to all of the nominees. Now back to you, Josh.
Thank you so much. How about we do a virtual round of applause? Congratulations to all of our finalists. Each one of you will be profiled in the San Fernando Valley Business Journal in our upcoming September 26th edition. So please make sure to get a hold of it, whether in print or online. All right, now is the time to unveil our 2022 CFO winners. We're going to be announcing honorees for 7 different award categories, and then you're going to get the chance to hear from them as well. To announce our first 2 honorees, welcome back, Platinum sponsor, Danan Simpson with Montage Insurance Solutions. All right, Danan, let's kick things off with the blast, our first award category. You're still on mute.
Yes, sorry about
There you
that. Okay, wasn't gonna do that, darn. Anyway, thank you so much, Josh. The first award category of the program is CFO to watch, and an honoree is the CF of Phoenixa, Mara Garcia. So we're so excited about that. Congratulations. So Mara is with us today, and we'd like to really invite you to unmute and join us for a few words.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the honor. Obviously, I want to thank our company, our founder, and our CEO for the opportunity to lead the team, and also my finance team and my accounting team. Really, I can't do my job without them. So this award is really for them as much as it's for me. So thank you for the honor.
You're welcome. That's wonderful. Congratulations to you, Mara. I'd like to ask you to stay on for another minute to allow our audience to get to know you a little better. And so I have a couple of questions. So how long have you been a CFO, and what was the biggest step you took to get you where you are?
So I've been only a CFO since January of this year. Prior to that, I was a VP of Finance and Accounting. And 2.5 years before that, I was actually an auditor. I was an audit manager. So the biggest leap was to transition from public accounting to private accounting. It's a different industry, having to focus in one company, and learning different languages, and not just all in accounting, but also just in being in a tech industry, learning a lot of tech words and understanding what they mean and how everything flows financially, and how accounting really touched every aspect of the business. So that was the biggest leap. It's not just like kind of taking away from my comfort zone of audit and CPA world to the tech world.
Wonderful. And I'm sure that auditing background really helped you as well. That's wonderful. So I have another question. What's the most challenging part of being a CFO at a young, growing company?
Yeah, I think it's a tough balance of, wanting to grow, but at the same time having to manage the finances, and making sure, obviously operational wise, we want to invest and spend money to make sure our company grow and get to the point where we are. But as a CFO, I have to pull everybody back. So you kind of have to be the no sayer. You have to be the bad cop a lot of times. So that's one of a good challenge, I'll say, to be able to say no to everybody when you have to, but to make sure that the growth of the company doesn't end abruptly. So
Fabulous. So true. Bad cop. Many of you can relate to that. So much, Mara. And congratulations again. Up next, we have a nonprofit CFO of the year. And this year's honoree is Kaylin Liu with Many Mansions. Congratulations. Kaylin, we'd like to invite you to say a few words, and thanks for being here.
Okay, it's my privilege and my honor to be get award. Thank you for your work, and I'd like to thank, especially thanking for our next 3 group of people with so long. First is our finance team. Without them, I cannot arrive to this point. Their dedication, their commitment for more than 10 years. We're like a solid team, finance team. They do their work, and I can kind of like taking their credit, So thank very much. Thank them for their hard work. And then a second group of people I'd like to thank is is top management team organization, especially for Alex Russell and Rick Schrader for their support and their guidance. The long-term work relationship, more than 10 years. And the third group is a board of director for the organization and for their support and guidance as well. Thank you.
That's so wonderful. I remember Mini Mansions years and years ago. I had a Girl Scout troop that we did a big event with them at Pepperdine. It was so much fun. So really proud of you. Congratulations again, Kaylin. Being a CFO of a nonprofit is both rewarding and challenging. So how is it different than for a for-profit organization?
For the nonprofit, the resource is always, kind of limited. And also we have so many, the regulatory agreements with government, also the next federal, state, and the local government. That's kind of hard. We stay in compliance with all those regulatory agreements, and also, we'll try to raise some fund for our program for the residents. It's very challenging.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, great job. Good job. And so what has been the most rewarding part about being a CFO of a nonprofit?
Oh yeah, when we see the residents that improve their their life, and they're back to track of their life, that's very encouraging. And they they don't have home before, and then they can have home, and they have a kind of normal life. That's really encouraging and motivation. Our motivation. Yeah.
Wonderful. So good, especially in these times. It's all of us are sensitive to that. And thank you for helping those that need your services. All right, Josh, back to you.
Well, congratulations, Kaylin and Mara. Outstanding work. And thanks again to Nan for being a part of this. All right, next up, we've got our privately held company category. And this year, because it's so competitive, we split it into 4 different awards based on company size: small, medium, large, and enterprise. Please join me in welcoming back Diamond sponsor, Dr. Chandra Subramanian, the David Nazarian College of Business and Economics at CSUN, to announce our next winners.
Thank you, Josh. So the next honoree is in the private company small category. Congratulations to Dwight Hand, CFO of Guardian Greenlock. Dwight, congratulations. Please come up to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Subramanian. I appreciate very much being nominated for this award, and I feel very, very honored. And I thank my partners, Todd and Tatiana Cohen, who are owners with me in the small business. And it wasn't for our unification and our thinking and direction of this company, we would not be able to achieve what we've been able to achieve. So I want to thank them for that, and for the San Fernando Valley Business Journal for putting this great event on and giving recognition to the many CFOs that are here in the Valley, Los Angeles area who deserve recognition. So thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this today.
Thank you, Dwight. We have, as Josh mentioned, a couple questions for you, just to sort of get a feel for what you do. You're a veteran in the CFO role. What's the most challenging part of being CFO that you've seen in the last couple of years?
Well, certainly in the last few years, the challenge has been a very volatile economy. Due to the pandemic, our particular business was impacted severely because we cater to the food industry with our products. So we saw revenues drop 40%. And it was a challenge to think about what the future might look like. As a matter of fact, we thought our revenues would drop even more than that. So we felt it was a good deal when it was only 40%. So the challenge is, how do you maintain your ratios? How do you maintain your margins? How do you stay profitable? And how do you continue to serve your customers? How do you go out in the field and exert confidence that you're real players and you're going to stay around? Those are challenges. And as CFO, watching very closely the cash balances and making sure you always have cash on hand to meet those obligations.
Thank you, Dwight. I think we have all had budget issues in the last couple of years. So you've been with the Guardian Greenlock since the beginning. What is something you're most proud of over the years?
Well, I've had the privilege of being with a terrific partner And what's been exciting for our company is that we now have 7 patents. We are in the small business category, which is really the lifeblood of our economy, and just see it in action, to be a part of it. And then to put these products to market and to see the acceptance, or maybe sometimes not so much the acceptance of those ideas. But that's really a challenge and exciting to see that. I get excited just seeing the revenue come in, looking at who's buying and what's going on and what is the acceptance level. Those are very, very exciting parts of CFO. You're right there on the ground floor, helping with strategy. You're doing more than just taking care of books. You're intimately involved in strategy, intimately involved in what the direction of the company is going to be. And that's a challenge, and it's also one of the pure enjoyments of being a CFO.
Thank you, Dwight, and congratulations again, by the way. Up next, we have the private company, medium-sized category. The 2022 CFO of the Year in the medium-sized private company category is Frank Sansoni with Beyond Limits. Frank is with us today. Frank, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. And I want to thank the San Fernando Business Journal and Josh and all of its sponsors. I appreciate your time and efforts in this process. And also, most importantly, Beyond Limits and our founders, AJ Abdalat and Mark James. And I couldn't get out here without thanking my wife, who helped support me in doing what I love doing every day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Could you share with us some tips on how you created a successful finance team?
Yeah, it's often what I try to do is bring in people I know and I trust, so that I can start there and be able to trust people to get the job done, because ultimately that's the key for this group to be able to meet the timing and metrics that we want to meet.
You're absolutely right about trust, by the way.
Yes, it's key.
Yeah, it's key. Speaking of team building and trust, as you said, you work in a community soccer leagues, helping youth learn to work together as a team. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I've been in the soccer world since my son was in it, and he's since graduated out into college. But I've gone back and helped coach and develop youth and try to not only teach them the sport, but the idea is to get these boys into college and be able to use soccer as a tool to be able to get into college and reach their dreams. And because ultimately, a good chunk of these kids don't have access to the resources to be able to get into schools that they potentially could. And so I try to help in that regard.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Up next, we have the large private company category. Drum roll. The 2022 large private company CFO of the Year is Robert Licht with Hertz Investment Group. Robert, congratulations. Join us for a few words.
Thank you very much. And thank you for recognizing me today. It's very special. So for those of you who have never heard of our company, so we're a commercial real estate firm, and we've been around for about 45 years. We have a portfolio of about 18 million square feet peppered across the United States in mostly secondary US cities. And you can imagine the last couple of years have been tough, not necessarily from the standpoint of collecting rents, but it's leasing space. The pandemic, though, has had a silver lining for us because of the growth that has migrated out of some of the larger cities into the secondary cities. So this is a case where on some level we have turned, lemons into lemonade a little bit. So as I reflect back on my career, what jumps out for me is I was very fortunate to have had very, very good mentors along the way to not only, demonstrate how to conduct myself and involve me in certain transactions and actual technical work, but just to kind of guide me. And, one that jumps out at me that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention was Fred Sands. Some of you know him from owning a real estate company in Los Angeles. He was pretty famous. He moved me out to Los Angeles about 10 years ago to be his right hand in his commercial real estate firm. And, in short, he turned me into an executive. Anybody who remembers him probably remembers he had a very, very tough reputation. But I learned very early on that that toughness was challenging you to be better and better and better. And he did that across the board with his whole team. So I'm forever grateful to him. Incidentally, he also imparted his love for the city of Los Angeles on me as well. So I'm originally an East Coast transplant, and it was a tough adjustment for the first couple of years, but suddenly I'm also in love with our city and have tried to involve my team in some community events and giving back to the community where we can.
Thank you, Robert. I love the idea of turning lemons into lemonade. That's what a lot of people have had to do. Can you tell us more about what led you to become a CFO at Hertz Investment Group?
Sure. So, as a real estate CFO, you certainly want to do interesting work. And so Hertz Investment Group attracted me from a couple of different standpoints. One was the quality and caliber of the portfolio that they have. It's best in class office towers, and it's a national portfolio. And so that has some gravitas. And so that appealed to me. One of the other things that our company has going for it is that we have publicly traded corporate bonds on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange in Israel. And so we've got an infrastructure over there that allows us access to capital that a lot of other companies don't have. And so getting involved in that was very attractive to me. But what I didn't realize when I made the decision was how great the team was. And once I got here, I realized how great they are, how hard they work, and how passionate they are. And I couldn't be more proud to work with them.
Thank you, Robert. Having served many, many years as CFO, what is the number one piece of advice you would give to finance professionals wanting to take on the CFO role?
So hard to narrow it down to just one, but a couple of things that come to mind. First and foremost, you need to have very strong shoulders because there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Another one that comes to mind is think like an owner. Treat the money like it's your own. And probably the third thing, as you move from senior management into the C-suite, you have to forever be mindful that you're now setting the tone of the company, and the way you conduct yourself and what you say matters more than it ever did before. And you always have to be mindful of that.
Thank you, Robert. That's really sage advice to all our young CFOs out there. The next award is for the Enterprise Private Company, and the honoree is Julie Winfield, Chief Financial Officer with RFO Management. Julie, you want to unmute yourself and say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm humbled and honored to be chosen for this award. I want to thank you, Dr. Chandra, for the nomination. I am a very proud Matador, as is my husband and my recently graduated son. I want to thank the San Fernando Valley Business Journal for putting this together, and I want to congratulate all of the finalists and honorees. We all know what it takes to be a CFO, and as Robert just said, you need broad and wide shoulders. It's not always about just the finances. It's more often not about finances than it is about finances.
Julie, RFO Management being such a large organization, here's one that I've always wondered. How do you sustain a positive working environment and culture over the last few years?
I would say that as a leader, I describe myself as a heartfelt leader, and I treat everyone on my team and in the company as part of my team. I think that when you treat people with respect and dignity and honesty and integrity, you get the best out of people. And one of the the ways I've navigated the last several years through the pandemic was honesty without brutality. And I am so grateful to be involved in an organization that touches so many people, and the owners and every single person in the company is held to a very high standard of values, which are honesty, fairness, and respect. So I think that really contributes to it.
Thank you, Julie. I love the idea of honesty and transparency, as you said. So let me ask a different question. What is something you're most proud of throughout your finance career?
I would say navigating change. My career has been intentionally or unintentionally focused on change management and infrastructure building. And I've worked in public and private and organizations that are very large and some that have been small. And I think that I've always focused on the use of technology and automation and utilizing our human resources for their brains, not their fingers. And I think that's been part of what's driven me in finance is change management and being able to guide people that may be resistant to change to either see the new vision or to have them focus on what they're passionate about.
Thank you, Julie. Change management is actually a tough one because people all tie to inertia. But now we are down. Congratulations, Julie. We are down to our final award category of the afternoon, Public Company CFO of the Year. This year, we have 2 honorees in this category. Our first honoree is Scott Burrows, CFO of Arcutis Biotherapeutics, Inc. Scott, please unmute and say a few words.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the team at the San Fernando Valley Business Journal. It's a great honor. I'm really accepting this award on behalf of the entire finance team here at Arcutis. We're a 6-year-old biopharmaceutical company focused on dermatology. We're based here in Westlake Village. We just launched our first product last month. And we've only had a finance department for about 3.5 years. And in that time, we got the company ready for life as a public company. We raised over $1 billion so far in equity and debt financing. And so I like to think that our finance team has played a really key role in getting the company to where we are today. So, on behalf of the Arcutis finance team, thank you very much for this award.
Congratulations, Scott. Being CFO of a public company requires very different skill sets from what you were being before as a private company. What do you believe is the biggest difference?
Yeah, so I started here at Arcutis when we were a private company, and we did one private financing round, and then we did the IPO. We've done a few follow-on financing since then. So I've seen both sides of the world. Becoming a public company, it just every kind of move you make is scrutinized, and you really have to have an eye towards the external markets. When you're talking about internal decisions, and you really want to make sure that you're able to communicate effectively externally what the strategy of the company is, the decisions you're making, why you're making them. So you just have to spend. You don't get to kind of incubate like you do in the private world without scrutiny. You really have to make sure that your messaging and your outreach to investors is strong, because this whole kind of investor relations operational side that is just super important. As much as you'd love to just focus on internal operations and delivering value the best way you think, the reality of being a public company is you have to have the external world understand what you're doing, and so we spend a lot of time with investors and focusing on making sure they understand what we're doing here.
Thank you, Scott. In an early stage commercial company such as Arcutis, the CFO's role has a large range of responsibilities to ensure that the company is well financed to support its clinical development program and its path to commercialization. Can you briefly provide us the range of your responsibilities?
Yeah, no, I think the premise of your question is right. I mean, we do have to make sure that, we understand the plans of the company, what that means for cash needs, because, we actually, just started generating revenue, but unfortunately, we're still going to be, burning cash for some period of time until those revenues get to scale. And so we have to make sure we understand, what the profile of the company looks like. Will we need to raise more money? And by the way, we just did a big raise last month. So we've told investors that we may not need to raise again. So that's a big milestone for us. But so there's the financing side, making sure we understand operations and cash flow, and then there's a lot more complex internal accounting as a commercial stage company in our industry. There's very complex revenue recognition, cost accounting things that are a little bit more complex than maybe some other industries. But it's making sure that we have all that straight, because we've seen restatements and such by other companies, and it's the death knell for the CFO's tenure, and it's a rough day for the company as well when those things happen. So it's making sure we stay on top of those things.
Thank you, Scott, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Last but not least, and still the co-honoree of the Public Company CFO of the Year is Evan Mesa, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer with Salem Media Group. Evan, you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. This is a great honor and distinction, and thank you to the San Fernando Valley Business Journal for this recognition. I'm blessed and privileged to have one of the greatest jobs in the world. Well, since playing second base for the Dodgers was never really an option for me. So I've been fortunate to work for Salem for 22 and a half years, the last 15 as CFO of Salem. And we're a multimedia company with a mission to serve audiences interested in Christian and conservative content. In my role, I get to interact with some of the top Christian communicators like Jim Daly, Alistair Begg, Greg Laurie, as well as our nationally syndicated hosts like Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, and Dennis Prager. But more importantly, I get to work with the best team of professionals, and I would not be here today without their tireless efforts. I'm also part of an amazing executive team that gives me the ability to do what I do. And finally, I want to thank my wife, Christy, and my 4 kids, Samantha, Noah, Faith, and Luke, for their unwavering support of me and my career. And I just want to end with one of my favorite sayings, which is rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Evan. That was nice. So just to understand what you said, you've been there for 22 years as CFO of Salem Group. How has your role, I'm sure you've been growing the company for that long, how has your role evolved over time?
Yeah, it really has changed, because just what we've done. When I started with the company, we were a radio operator. Pretty much that's what we've done. Now, we are 30% of our revenue is digital. We own a book publisher, a few book publishers, and so just the accounting associated with each of those issues, or each of those divisions, create issues. Revenue recognition on digital is more challenging than, let's say, on traditional radio advertising. So a lot of that has changed, but also just the way you deal with the public markets. It was a lot different back when I first started with the company versus where we are now. Just meeting with investors is different. It doesn't seem to have, used to be able to go and do a non-deal roadshow, meet with investors and move the stock price. It seems more investors look at message boards than even sometimes what we're saying. So I will say one thing as a public company CFO, I think sometimes you need to develop a little bit of a thicker skin and, not look at the stock price every day, although I do, and multiple times during the day, but, and not let that kind of drive your value. Like if you have a day where your stock goes down 5%, you're not like, oh my gosh, we're doing a terrible job. Focus on the operations and let the value and the free cash flow take care of the stock price over time.
Thank you, Evan. You're absolutely right about where they're coming for information, because now a lot of people look for universities through Instagram rather than going to their web pages.
Correct.
So here's another one. What is your number one piece of advice you have for financial professionals working towards becoming CFO of a public company?
A few things come to mind. One is obviously work hard. And the other thing that came to my mind right away is integrity. Because it could sometimes be easy to take shortcuts or do something maybe not the right way, but it's easier. No one's going to know. You know, I kind of look at it and say, I look at myself in the mirror every morning, and I always hold myself to the highest level of integrity. And I think that's so important in our profession. And like I said, working hard and some of it's, you know, being at the right place at the right time and being open to opportunities as they present themselves.
Thank you, Evan. And thank you to all the honorees. Congratulations. Back to you, Josh.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. What a great group of finalists and winners, of course, in each of our categories. How about a round of applause once again for everybody for being part of this. We appreciate your time today. I do want to remind you all that, as I mentioned earlier, you can read more about our CFO leaders in the September 26th edition of the Business Journal. There'll be more on our winners. There'll be more on each of our finalists. For those of you who know somebody, whether it's a colleague, a family member, who might get value from watching this awards program, and some of the comments made, which by the way, I think were fantastic. For me, it was just as interesting to hear from the CFOs as it was to read their nominations and get to know them a little bit. So there'll be a recorded version of this program available on sfvbj.com as of tomorrow. That's SFVBJ is in San Fernando Valley Business Journal.com. Thank you again to all of you. Thank you to our partners and our sponsors. And congratulations again to our financial community. Be safe, and we hope to be seeing you in person next year and celebrating each of your accomplishments. Thank you all, and be safe. Have a good day.